I have stripped my two negative ones that I needed, and I actually ordered these guys. I have two of them, one for negative and one for positive, and they look almost identical except for they have different coloring housing as well as different color screws in them. And that's how I'm going to tell my difference between positive and negative. So what I'm going to do is, because this is 4 gauge right here, that's going to go into this end over here, and then all of my combination of both my alternator as well as my solar will come into here and then go out to my batteries on 1/0, because this terminal accepts 1/0. So I have no power loss, or at least the minimum amount of power loss that I can have and be efficient. So I'll get back with you guys when I have that all connected, and I'll show you. Okay, so this is where my 2 batteries were that were separated from the other 4. This is inside my rig underneath my stairs. And what I did is I ordered those terminal blocks that you see sitting there, and I've changed and wired everything to those terminal blocks, and now all my power goes back to the battery bank where they're located back in the back. Excellent. And then I'm going to snake it around to the negative terminal on that side. Ready?
Yep.
Hey everybody, this is Matt from and Jayco and Matt Kochel. So we're working on my battery bank right now, and what I've done is I've taken the 2 batteries from underneath my stairs, which were there, and I had added 4 more batteries to this whole setup, so I had 6, and they were kind of separated. So what I've done is I'm moving everything back into this compartment so that I can wire everything heavy-duty gauged wire so that I lose the least amount of power possible, and so that everything's nice and neat and organized. Because that's one thing that bugs the crap out of me, is I love to be organized and I want to be organized the best I can. So that's what we're doing, and we're in the middle of this, so hopefully we'll be able to walk you through it and show you exactly what I've done.
Very good.
Okay. Now I'll get this to pop.
Mm-hmm.
There. And you can see I can't pull that off.
All right.
Now I put heat shrink over it.
Okay.
Seal off any of the connections so that I don't weld something to another piece. So went over to the concrete, got a nice connection. Now we're going to heat seal it with heat shrink, which these terminals that I bought come with it. Kind of nice. And it also gives me a way of labeling what color it, if it's positive or if it's negative. And that's a big thing in these RVs. You do not want to start a fire in these things, because if you get an electrical fire, this thing's going down to the ground. And in any case, it's going down to the ground. Like so.
Very good.
You can see how flexible that is. I mean, that's 1 gauge wire. You show me 1 gauge wire that you can do this to. So the next step is going to be adding one of my connectors, one of your little standard ring connectors. And that takes a lot of power to crimp. And the tool I use is this guy right here. Allows me to set this in there like so. Grab my 1-pound hammer. I gotta hit it a lot harder. And there's a good crimp. Wasn't a good crimp because I just pulled it right off. So I gotta straighten this back out and try it again. Make sure it's sticking out slightly, like so. Come down to here. Ow. As I break my hand. I need to go over and pound it on concrete.
Okay.
Instead of my gravel. Okay,
Alrighty.
so I've got both blocks connected. And the next step is going to be to connect my inverter to my battery bank, which is going to have a line off of the post here straight to the inverter, so it's the shortest distance. And I'm also using a 1/0 gauge cable again because it's the largest and it's going to be able to handle the most amps without losing a lot of power through it. And if you notice, I have maybe a foot, 16 inches max that I have to run. You want to mount your inverter as close to your batteries as possible so that you can get the most efficiency out of your system. 120 volts runs through smaller cable better than 12 volts. So that's why you see very large cables on 12 volt systems and 24 volt systems, because of the fact that it doesn't travel very well through cable. You want the shortest runs possible. And that's what we're going to do here. I had a huge run. This is where my batteries are now. I had a long run from my stairs. Almost 18 feet from where my batteries were before to my inverter. So I've taken, and the funny thing is, that was 4 gauge. I've moved up to 1/0, which is a lot larger than 4 gauge. And I'll show you that. That's 4 gauge. That's 1/0. A little bit of a difference there in size. This guy carries a lot better current than the 4 gauge, and that's why I went and bought 4 gauge cable to, or 1/0 able to do this. So that's what we're going to do next, and you'll be able to watch my shrink wrap on. And I noticed I had a tiny loose strand right here. I could pull that off, but because I'm putting shrink wrap on, I can just put the shrink wrap right over it and it disappears.
Ah.
And that's why I recommend shrink wrap.
Very good.
Okay, so the next thing is we've connected everything that we're going to connect to our batteries. And you'll note on some of these they look a little red. Well, what that is it's a battery terminal protector that keeps corrosion and that kind of stuff. And I'll pop my hood and she'll be able to insert a picture of what my batteries look like, because I live in the inland Northwest. We have corrosion and that kind of stuff, and it happens everywhere, but it happens really bad up here. So we use this to prevent it. And up here, it's not really a preventative, it's just you must do, because your terminals within 6 months won't be usable if you don't do. Okay, so we've completed my battery move plus wiring. And what we've done is I've taken 6 batteries, 6 volts, and created a 12 volt battery bank that I have now 200. They're each 12 volt battery is 210 amps. So I have a total of 630 amps, which then powers my massive Magnum inverter, and it's a 3000 watt.
Wow.
And it allows me to run my AC and anything else that I want. And here's my blocks that I installed. These are, I've got solar right here, and then this is my my alternator, and then solar and alternator right here. And those guys go into a big block that has 1 gauge coming out. And if anybody wants diagrams or anything like that, or questions, go to my channel, which is Matt Kochel, JJ in a Jayco, and ask me there, because I will also have a video of this in more depth and more detail as I did it, and that will be going up here very shortly. So please subscribe to my channel and go check my channel out. I try to do real in-depth detail stuff, and stay tuned to my channel and also Christine's, because we have a couple announcements that we're going to be doing here in the next few weeks.
Fantastic. Thanks.